There is a reason why so many people spend their entire lives searching for peace and never find it. They accumulate knowledge, they read books, they listen to teachers, they collect spiritual concepts, yet something remains unsettled. Why? Because information is not the same as understanding. According to Nisargadatta Maharaj, there can be no true understanding without discrimination. He points to a fundamental mistake that almost all human beings make. We identify ourselves with the mind, and from that single mistake, countless others are born. Listen carefully to his words. Discriminate. There is no understanding without discrimination. Until then, there is no peace. This discrimination is not about judging other people. It is the ability to distinguish between what is temporary and what is eternal. What changes, what remains, what appears, what observes. Most people never stop to ask these questions. Instead, they accept every thought as truth. Every emotion becomes their identity. Every fear becomes a prophecy. But Nisargadatta immediately redirects our attention toward something extraordinary. You are the knower of the mind. The knower is beyond the body-mind. Think about that for a moment. Thoughts come and go. Memories come and go. Sensations come and go. The body itself changes constantly. Yet there is something within you that witnesses all these changes. That witness has remained present throughout your entire life. The question is, who is that witness? Nisargadatta continues, when you realize that you are not what your mind tells you, you will understand why Atman is unborn. The spiritual journey is often described as a process of becoming wiser, becoming enlightened, becoming awakened. But Nisargadatta presents a completely different perspective. What if awakening has nothing to do with becoming? What if it is simply the recognition that you have never been what you thought you were? The body was born. The mind developed. The personality was constructed. But the self was never born. He then says something remarkable. A rare one turns inwardly on his own without hearing about it from others. Gradually learn to discriminate. The awareness of the Guru word will enable you to do this. Turning inward does not happen naturally for most people. Our attention is almost always directed outward, toward possessions, toward relationships, toward achievements, toward the endless activity of the world. Yet every spiritual tradition points in the same direction. Look within, because the treasure you are seeking cannot be found outside yourself. But there is an obstacle, the mind, and Nisargadatta speaks directly about it. When the mind connection is severed, you will see the void. The idea of emptiness frightens many people. We associate emptiness with loss, with loneliness, with nothingness. But the void described by spiritual masters is not a dark abyss. It is the disappearance of false identification. It is the space that remains when the noise of the mind finally subsides. And how do we reach that state? Nisargadatta gives a very practical answer. To purify the mind, one must remember the mantra all through the waking hours. Then your mind will come under your control. Notice that he does not say the mind should be destroyed. He says it should be purified. A purified mind becomes a servant rather than a master. Then comes one of the most powerful statements in this teaching. When you pay attention to your true nature, the mind will disappear, bringing in the whole, not a fragment, not a better version of yourself, not an improved personality, the whole, the complete reality that exists beyond division. Nisargadatta then challenges one of the greatest spiritual misconceptions. In the perfect state, there is no experience of bliss. It cannot be witnessed. This seems almost contradictory. After all, isn't enlightenment supposed to be a state of permanent bliss? Not according to Nisargadatta. Every experience requires an experiencer, but in the perfect state, the separation between the observer and the observed disappears. There is no longer someone experiencing bliss, there is only being. He asks a simple but profound question. Did you witness anything prior to your birth? And then he goes even deeper. There are great learned men, but can any of them step outside the mind? Knowledge alone is not enough. Concepts alone are not enough. Words alone are not enough. The mind cannot free itself through intellectual accumulation. He continues, wherever there is mind, there is prana, vital force. Where there is prana, there is consciousness. After realizing the nature of the mind, the life force is dissolved. The delight and bliss of that moment are unique. It comes to the one who knows the self. And finally, he leaves us with these liberating words. Just as it is a concept that one is born, the dread of death is also a concept. The mind surrenders to you if your incantation of the mantra is continuous. It tells you what you need to know. Perhaps the greatest fear human beings experience is the fear of death. But if birth is a concept created through identification with the body, then death may be another concept created by the same identification, and that changes everything. The invitation of Nisargadatta Maharaj is simple. Discriminate, observe, question, turn inward, and discover that what you truly are has never been born and can never die.